Portland's fastest growing all-girls sport is on a roll.
The roller derby girls.
Portland roller derby team.
We're talking about the Rose City Rollers.
Let's kick off another season of excitement.
The Rose City Rollers grown to more than 100 skaters.
Rose City Rollers. Ages 21 to 50 belong. Rose City Rollers.
They're gonna hurt you, girl.
The Rose City Rollers.
So 2 rules: knock them down and don't look back. The Rose City Rollers.
There are now close to 200 roller derby teams and 30 leagues all across the country. I think they have a spot for you.
The Rose City Rollers basically were definitely a barroom idea.
I met up with November Payne from the Guns N' Rollers at a beer expo.
I was an official sponsor over a couple beers and a handshake.
We were drinking beers and she was telling me about it. She's like, it's violence, it's sports, there's alcohol involved, and that sounded like the best thing in the world to me.
We started out skating where we didn't wear any pads, we didn't know what was going on, like there was no rules when I first started.
I don't even know if I'd really call it a practice, actually. I think it was more of just kind of a get together, hang out, drink some beers, socialize, roll around a little bit.
We were skating under Grand Central Bowl for a while, like leaving endurance, which was like 20 laps at the time, to go do shots and then come back and skate.
So I hardly rolled at all and I fell a whole bunch, and of course it was really sanitary down there in the parking garage filled with oil and dirt and so any like skinned knees, because we didn't wear tons of pads. I don't think I had any pads for quite a while. We're just like laden with bacteria, and it all made us really tough, I think.
All of us didn't have pads. Mouth guards, I don't think we wore those. Helmets? Yeah, I think we were wearing helmets. I'm not sure though.
Most of the skates I did in the beginning were all in the armory for a while, and so just showing up, having some beers, people smoking their cigarettes, and then we start skating.
The cement floor, too small, Coke machines, tables, bread on the tables, kind of crazy.
There were these vending machines along one wall, and girls would routinely crash into them.
And at one practice, we had a broken wrist, knocked out a chunk of my hip. Somebody slammed their boob into a doorknob.
Sometimes there were grease spots, and sometimes we made drills based upon where the grease spots were. Like you had to jump the grease spots to get to the other side.
But I have to say there was a lot of camaraderie, a lot of league love, a lot of love between people, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had.
Before we were like a league of formed teams, the Oaks Park treated us like we were like this little gang. We couldn't go to the rink and wear Rose City Rollers gear because they considered it like gang paraphernalia.
When we first started splitting up into teams, we kind of split it up based on each team got one person that knew how to roller skate and then one person that knew how to sew, so that we could make our uniforms, and that was about as much organization as the teams had in the beginning.
At our first bout, we had our teams, but we didn't really have anyone to officiate. So I went into the role of a jam referee. I think we maybe had 3 officials at the time for our first bout. We sold out 2,500 people. Yeah, well, we need to have some referees and kind of look like we know what we're doing out here, so we don't look like a production of WWF.
That was insane. We had no idea how big it was going to be. I mean, it was huge to us and huge in our hearts, and it was super, super exciting from the get-go. Like, this is what we're doing, we're finally doing it, we actually sold tickets, at least 5 people are going to come. This is awesome. Like, my mom, whoever. Like, we thought it was going to be really small. So I remember with my team peeking out of the curtains in the back of the expo center and seeing that it was filled with people and just being like totally shocked.
Thousands of screaming people, and I was so terrified by what I was about to get myself into. I saw the first two teams play, and it was just bloodshed.
The expo center just kind of was a theatrical place. It's a lot different when you're not skating in that environment. You have the lights, the audience is in the dark, your fan sections are split out. It's so loud in there. And
oh fuck, that was intense. We were the first team that played, and we were up against the High Rollers, and me and Goody Two Skates were the first jammers on the floor. It was a blast because it was a riot. I think that we used to be able to do things that can't be done now, and so a lot of what was happening with the show element around it was just very edgy and fun.
You're gonna be jamming a lot. I'm a jammer, the sacrificial lamb, if you will. The right side of my body has a fair amount of injuries to prove that, but nonetheless, gotta throw it down for the team. It'll be good. Looking forward to it. We got some fresh jammers on our team, so I think we'll be able to throw it down.
Hold it! Hold it! Hold it!
We didn't have any strategy in the beginning. It was just screaming and yelling and trying to do the best we could.
Like, to get by, I remember Sump Pump and I, we were particularly kind of fast skaters, and so we would just bypass the whole pack on the outside of the track. Not necessarily intentionally, but like, well, this looks kind of dicey, just to go right around.
And maybe the jam ref saw that she went out of bounds or didn't. She usually just got her points anyways.
We had all of the teams were in the center of the rink at that time. Like we had chairs lined up in the center. Like we were always constantly running over the refs.
And to have a crowd of 3,000 people there and to know we had turned away 1,000 people when we had no idea who was going to show up was so exciting.
The lights turned on and they were really, really fancy, like theatrical lights, I thought at the beginning. I remember when those lit up and we were introduced, and from there was a shift. Like we didn't notice the crowd anymore and we just skated. But it was super intimidating and really exciting.
We built that event from scratch, including the lights, the sound system, just the stage, everything. It was very labor intensive, but that was also not a very sustainable model. Just with the amount of labor involved, and the league wanted to bout more. Rocket Mean had the bright idea of utilizing the hangar space.
When they hired me in 2003, the idea was to make that a soccerplex, sportsplex. But again, I met some of the girls, and granted I've never played the sport, but I was able to fulfill my dream by watching the dream of these girls unfold here.
I mean, it was a tremendous accomplishment for our league to have our own space, one location, one centralized location.
We slowly started figuring out the rules, started figuring out kind of what this thing was that we were doing, becoming a lot more of an organization.
So from our first bout, which was in 2004, it's amazing at how much roller derby grew as a sport, fan base, the players. It was amazing.
We all had jobs. Like everyone had to do something, so we were always working.
If it wasn't for the drive of the league members, Rose City wouldn't have gotten to the level that it did.
And also back in the day, we had to do things like just create logos or create team names, and there was all that kind of just creating the league stuff that was going on.
Seeing it evolve into skating at 3 different places around town and figuring out what the game was to like this kind of well-oiled machine that girls get to walk into today. There was a lot of passion that just kind of somehow filtered through a lot of meetings at a lot of bars into what you see before you today.
Again, who would have thought at the Armory where it would be now?
Now they are playing bouts at the Rose Garden, the Memorial Coliseum, bigger and better venues. And I do think there's still room for growth, because there's a lot of people who haven't really checked it out yet.
All we can do is get better and better, you know what I mean? And exponentially. So I feel like last year we are 3 times the team that we were last year, and I think that next year we're going to be 10 times the team, you know what I mean? We get to work with each other for another whole year, most of us.
The more members we got, the more not just rules, on the track that we had to follow, but rules internally, just to make everything function.
I remember drinking before bouts, and I remember the day they made a rule that you couldn't drink before bouts, and there was outrage, complete and utter outrage. Like, what? I can't have a shot of whiskey before a bout? How could I possibly bout without a shot of whiskey?
It's probably best. I wonder really still if it's like followed to a T.
It takes an athlete to play this sport, not just somebody who throws on a tutu and some fishnets.
I don't know, we were training 16 hours a week. It was really hard to train 16 hours a week and drink like we used to drink. It just doesn't work.
Like Rose City takes itself a lot more seriously as a sports organization. Like, we're not really that garage band anymore.
You know, we were just kind of trying to figure it all out, and then it kind of started growing from there. And all of a sudden we started recruiting girls. It just kind of like grew and grew.
Actually, as of like this morning, January 5th, 2014, we officially have more than 500 members on the books. Then that doesn't even include all of our volunteers. Those are just the people who have insurance through like the WFTDA. More than 500 people.
We have, I would say, close to 200 people who are listed as wreckers right now.
It's amazing to see what's happened with it in such a short amount of time. It's exploded now into helping people to learn how to skate, how to play derby, and just how to be part of something bigger than them. And that's a pretty amazing thing that there were people within the league who saw that the change needed to happen, and they made it happen, which is, I think, part of what's so great about Rose City is people see something, they know it needs to happen, and they make it happen.
But when I first heard that it was starting, I was really interested because I had really liked my experience with seedlings in the Rosebuds, and I thought it was cool that we would have a sort of similar program for the adult league, seeing that that is where most of our skaters come from, is not through the Rosebuds, but through wreckers.
There's been some amazing, what we kind of like called homegrown skaters come up through the ranks. They start out on wreckers and move all the way up into travel team. It's great.
And it's always fun to explain to new officials, these are our home teams. You may not understand what it's like that our home teams are super competitive, regularly compete against Division I and Division II teams on their own, and may or may not be comprised of large numbers of current and formal travel team members of the top 10 ranked travel team.
We didn't have like liquor and splits just like jumping over people and like looking like she's just been plowed by 3 people but somehow is like doing a pirouette and just made it through. So that's really, really exciting. And I can't wait for Ramona to join the Rose Petals or whatever the smallest.
We've got a couple of league members whose kids are in Rose Petals. One of my old teammates, Headache, her daughter plays in Rose Petals, and I think she's 7. And I mean, by the time that kid is 18, and if she does play on the adult team, she's gonna be better than any of us ever were.
The Rosebuds, that's another thing that we didn't have back in 2004. We never thought in a million years that we would be doing something like the Rosebuds, which is amazing. That's great.
So we're going to kind of take our general model that we've done with the Rose City Rollers and open it up to high school age girls. And I think that we'll probably have some pretty tremendous little leaders come out of that group.
Hi, I'm Claire Chin, aka Felice Brutality, and I started skating in 2010 with the Rose City Rosebuds. I'm now captain of the High Rollers. I skated with the Wheels of Justice last season, and I'm the program director for Derby 101.
My daughter was a founding member of the Rosebuds when I started. It was kind of a chance for at least the girls I knew and me to just kind of dress up and have fun, and it was fun to skate, and we didn't really consider it like a huge sport. It was more like a thing to do sometimes, have fun. But now it's gotten a lot more serious because you don't see basketball players wearing tutus running around. I mean, it's really fun and it's super cute and it can be empowering, but I also think it's really cool to dress in uniform and be all super athletic.
If you have a positive attitude and you're willing to come and join, then we can teach you everything else.
On the roller derby track, she's Jesus Feist. Off the track, she's 14-year-old Kindell McIntosh. And if you want to be a Rose City Rosebud like her, you'll also need some guts.
It's very dangerous, I'd say, in a good way.
It was like everything that I wanted it to be, which was something for these young girls, but then it ended up being really mutually positive for the adults who then got to kind of experience bringing these girls up. And then what I didn't even foresee was that these girls are going to be really good by the time they're 18. And then so doing the whole shifting and having some of these girls age out. And I was on the High Rollers and we drafted Felice Brutality, and she had been a bud, and now she's the captain of our team. So that whole progression and growth of the program to really, really, really be incorporated is really exciting development.
I hear a lot of people, a lot of adult skaters say that they wish that they had roller derby when they were growing up, and I did, and it was a hugely influential experience for me to have this community of like hardcore, devoted, athletic women, and I think it's been really, really important to my growth just as like an adolescent into an adult, so I'm really grateful for that.
So many people to look up to on this league, and I'm gonna be doing this till I die.
Well, I think the big thing that everyone's focusing on right now is getting a bigger venue.
As far as our league, we need to have our own venue. We have to have our own venue, and we need to have 2 tracks.
Rose City has definitely outgrown our current space. I mean, we have like more than 12 teams and programs all practicing in this one track space, and I mean, we're like bursting at the seams.
We'd like to have a larger capacity because we do sell out all of our home team games. Being able to accommodate more teams, more practices, all that kind of training. So it would be nice to have control over our concessions, have running water and bathrooms and a merch store, and just having more permanent fixtures.
And just continue to be a league that embraces everybody. I think that's the great thing about Rose City is you step into it and pretty instantly you're embraced, which is pretty awesome.
What is more important for me, and something that is always in my mind with the volunteer work that I do for Rose City, with the administrative work that I do as a committee chair for Rose City, is keeping this derby experience around as long as possible. I really enjoy working for Rose City. I really like what Rose City has done, and I want Rose City to be here for my daughter when she decides to, maybe try skating on her own. And so for me, I want to see the sport not be a flash in the pan. I want to see the sport have some sort of longevity. And I think that Rose City is one of the places where we can, sort of help make that happen with our 500 plus members.
What advice would I give to someone entering RCR?
Have really good health insurance. Yeah, that would be my primary advice.
Just keep getting up.
Appreciate the people that are surrounding you, because you never get the opportunity again to pull out that competitive side and work your ass off so hard with such amazing women all in the same place at one time.
Be a decent person here and love us, and we will love you right back.
And I just want people to be patient, because the quality of derby that we have in Rose City is phenomenal, and the quality of training, the facility that we have is already amazing. And if you can be patient and work within our program, you're going to go a lot further than you will in another program.
If you make fresh meat here, you could probably be on a B team somewhere else. That's the level that RCR has gone to.
Never forget why you joined. I think it's very easy for someone to join our league, the world's largest league, which is impressive, but at the same time can equally be very overwhelming.
For me, coming in as a non-skating official, I knew nobody. I knew very little of the sport. I'd only seen, I think, 3 bouts before it. So I was sort of, it's intimidating, but I think you just have to embrace the largeness of Rose City and know that you have a place there.
And for those who are brand new skaters, to be gentle with yourself and give yourself some time, but also reach out. There are lots of people here who will love you and help you find your way and are interested in your growth along your path, whatever your path may be, because there are so many ways you can travel in RCR.
Try your hardest and do everything you can to get over those initial hurdles, because everyone has them, but once you get over them, it's such a growing sport that it's really easy to pick up that growth and grow with it.
I appreciate so many of the volunteer things that RCR does, and just volunteer things you can do with the league to make it better. So get out there and get involved.
To think of the league as a family and to keep it going, but not to just come and go and have a bad attitude.
Remember that it's fun.
No, don't forget to have fun.
Yeah, don't forget to have fun.
Don't make it a boo
sad party. Yeah, you're paying to do it. Have some fun.
Go NSO. Learn the game before you scrimmage.
I know I'm a badass because of Derby.
Allowed me to become the woman that I became. I mean, I was 19 when I started. I kind of ended up in leadership roles at that age, so it was really bizarre kind of being in charge of women that were much older than me, and I don't know why any of them ever listened to me. I learned a lot about myself and my confidence and just who I was, and just being around so many empowering, strong women. What I consider my family now is all the people that I met in roller derby.
Derby like helped me do a 180. So I couldn't skate and I was like, I don't know guys, I don't know, whatever everybody else wants to do. And Derby made me really kind of like harness what I wanted and really brought out a competitive side in me. So like personally, it made me, I feel like a lot tougher and more confident.
To learn something new, to do something difficult, to work as a team, to make new lifelong friends, it changed everything. I felt stronger, my body felt stronger, my heart felt stronger. Learning makes your brain feel stronger. So I was more dynamic, more confident. I had more fun. I had great friends, like everything, this big glowy portion of my life, and it's all in this hangar.
It gave me a community outside of work. And so Derby gave me friendships and really kind of broadened my horizons here in Portland in a way that I don't think would have happened if I hadn't met such neat women. It's really meant a lot to me.
This is the biggest group of women I've ever been friends with, and the toughest group of women, and I'm lucky enough to have my GNR home team, but I'm super lucky to have my wheels team. That support is there when you need it, and I don't think that'll go away.
That's really crazy. And they don't really understand. They just are kind of like, wow, you got like your nickname tattooed on your arm. And it's like, it's not my nickname. It's 5 days a week, skating for 3 hours a night, no social life. It's everything. It's my friends, they're my family now.
This is my last year skating. I cannot continue to keep skating. It is an incredibly difficult thing to walk away from. It's not like anything else I've ever encountered in my life, to have 200 people that are my community.
So I feel like it really took a big break, to be honest. Instead of retiring, I took some time off. I finished grad school and I started a business, and those were things that I had to do to be able to support my derby career.
Well, I took away from that I'm not retiring. I decided that I'd already been thinking about it, and Jason and I had talked about it, the possibility that I might stick around and do travel team one more year. That game on Friday, definitively made up my mind that I had to play another year. I want to continue working hard. I really want this. And so, 2010, that's our year. I really, really want this, and I really don't want to give up on it until I've at least gone to nationals. I really don't care how we do there. Of course, I'd really like to do well, but I just really want to do that before I retire.
It's been incredible, as far as developing professional skills. Serving as a vice president of a nonprofit board of directors is a really big deal. And I don't think I realized that at first when I agreed to run for a board member a long time ago, but now it's very clear.
Roller derby really has changed my life, and in so many ways for the better. It really challenges me in so many ways, and also gives me lots of opportunities to work with really great women. And so thank you for starting that. I love RCR, and it's a really, really great part of my life.
Having derby and having it be so accepting to literally every body type. You could be any body type and be any player, it doesn't matter. And nobody's gonna be like, oh, you should lose some weight. They don't care because it doesn't matter. And then you make all these great friends who adore you, and they're your teammates, and you can hit them and it's not weird. You're just hitting a friend and you're skating, and it's really fun. And it definitely changed me for the better.
We're one of the few relationships or one of the first to start through roller derby. yeah, I mean, here we are. We're married with 3 kids, and it's totally different than it was back in 2005. And, you know, the best way possible.
Unfucking brutes, man! It's life-changing. It will change your life for only the best, only the better. I mean, no, roller derby saved my soul. It'll save yours too. I promise. I'm serious.
If they weren't for the people who skated in a basement with no helmets and beer and cigarettes, we wouldn't be here. So I'm so happy to see that this league is looking back at who started it, whether or not they would recognize what's happening necessarily, but being part of it still, because it wouldn't be here if it weren't for this.
It gave me, more than anything though, I think probably some of the best memories I'll ever have. Like, I just know that when I'm like in my 90s and I'm rolling around with all my arthritis and all my joints from roller derby, I will just be so happy every moment remembering everything that happened. Like, it was all worth it. So more than anything, it was the memories that it gave me that I appreciate.
I'm blown away by Rose City Rollers all the time. You know, the fact that we've come this far is totally amazing. It's been an amazing ride so far, and it has been that because of the people that are part of Rose City Rollers. I can't wait to see what the next 10 years brings. I don't know if I'll be here the whole time, but I'm super excited to see where things go. I know that we're, you know, on a great path, and I can't wait until we get to the next venue. It's gonna be rough, you know, it's gonna take all of our effort and all of us working together, but it's gonna be fantastic. We're gonna make Derby Mecca. I appreciate so many people that give so much to Rose City Rollers. This couldn't happen without countless volunteer hours. You know, each and every one of you. Those of you that skate, those of you that volunteer, those of you that do some of both, those of you that are officials, that are totally behind the scenes, those of you that put on our events. I mean, all these people giving so much is tremendous. And it really comes through in, you know, a final product that is so packed with love. It's completely awesome. I really look forward to seeing lots of the next generation of girls come up out of, you know, rose petals and rosebuds, and I look forward to seeing kind of, you know, how they develop into women. It's an unbelievable thing to have gotten to witness. I can't tell you how surprised I've been by seeing people who, you know, blossom into confident and unbelievable women by their participation in roller derby. And, you know, I want us to be able to make RCR something where it is, you know, big enough that we can take anybody that wants to play with us. Right now, you know, we're feeling pretty maxed out as far as where we're at, but I think in the future we're definitely going to grow into our next phase and be able to have all different kinds of derby things happening. I can't wait to see what comes of it. I can't tell you how appreciative I am of all the people that have been a part of it so far. Thanks to each and every one of you. It's been fantastic. I'm really, really proud to call myself the leader of Rose City Rollers. Thanks, you guys.